Hey everyone, Cornapinoy X here once again, and Lucent Nargacuga is the best version of the Nargacuga species throughout the entirety of the Monster Hunter series, the one that was released in Sunbreak. Now for many people out there, this might sound like a very bold claim, but I have personally played the entirety of Monster Hunter, including the games exclusive to Japan such as Monster Hunter Frontier. And what Capcom did here is they struck that balance when it comes to this monster, giving you that crumb of Frontier experience when it comes to the moveset of the monster, but at the same time keeping the fluidity that mainline games are known for, keeping that realism to some extent. Now, having seen the entirety of what Sunbreak has to offer as of right now in terms of that Frontier experience, especially with the Espinasse being in this game, I think the Lucent Narga is the perfect balance here because it showcases that Capcom are capable of utilizing what Frontier attack moves had back in that game without making it overpowered or in some cases too extreme for many people out there. So to me, I would say that Lucent Narga is the perfect version of the monster and a great example of how Capcom can balance a Frontier monster in a mainline game, very similar in manner to that of Espinasse. Now what exactly does Lucent Narga have that the standard version of this monster doesn't, or the subspecies or its previous iteration back in 3 Ultimate? During Frontier's lifespan, Capcom introduced a series of monsters under the group known as exotic species. These creatures are mainline monsters introduced between 2nd to 4th generation of mainline games that then transitioned into Frontier. These creatures looked exactly the same as their mainline counterpart. However, this is where the similarities end. In combat, these monsters have taken on unique adaptations and attack patterns never seen on their mainline counterparts, at least not before 5th generation. With the exotic Nargacuga, the Frontier dev team most likely recreated the monster based on a specific lore which states that in the wild, there's a 1% chance of discovering a blue-furred Nargacuga. When the exotic Narga becomes enraged, its entire fur coloration transitions from its traditional black to a glowing blue coloration, similar to the 1% described in lore. Its agility is enhanced beyond what the standard Narga is capable of to the point of creating after images when moving. But most importantly, it utilizes new attack moves with its tail and cut wing. One of its signature moves is a poison tail spike rain followed by an aggressive tail slam, and alongside this, the exotic Narga is also capable of spinning so fast it creates a smoke screen and then ambushing hunters when their vision is impaired. So you can see there's a lot of new attack moves not seen on mainline games when it comes to the standard Nargacuga when we take a look at the exotic version. Now, with that being said, Lucid Narga was actually the first monster as far as I'm aware to utilize the poison tail spikes. However, Frontier took it into the next level with its abilities. In Sunbreak, what Lucid Nargacuga offers is an experience with fighting against a Frontier version of a mainline monster without reaching levels of extremities which Frontier was known for, offering a monster that's balanced between mainline and Frontier abilities, similar to what the Espinasse offers in Sunbreak as of right now. Sunbreak's Lucent incorporates many of the exotic Narga's attacks, further evolving the monster's arsenal for combat and even implementing new ways to utilize these attacks not seen on the exotic monster. Lucid Narga's Poison Rain differs from the exotic version in that it creates 3 circles of poison rain one after another, covering a large area compared to the exotic monster. This is actually more comparable to the blinking Nargacuga's Poison Rain in Frontier, an extreme individual covered in white fur. Another ability that Lucent Nargacuga performs that's heavily inspired if not outright taken from the exotic monster is the spin attack. In terms of characteristics, they're similar in that the Narga spins rapidly in order to attack hunters. However, in the exotic Narga's case, it's also used to create a smokescreen to impair a hunter's vision before ambushing them. Since the Lucent Nargacuga can turn invisible, it doesn't need the smokescreen in any capacity. So instead, it goes ballistic and spins like a Beyblade and then moves towards hunters in order to deal damage to them. The animation is drastically different because of how fast Lucent spins, but you can really see a strong similarity between them. So even though they're very different in terms of animation, the origin is the same. Now, these are just a few of the attacks I wanted to compare between the Lucent Nargacuga and its exotic counterpart to showcase that Capcom are more than capable of taking those frontier characteristics from certain creatures and incorporating them into a mainline setting. Overall, I think the Lucent Nargacuga is the perfect version of the monster because again, it strikes that balance. It's not too extreme like what we see in Frontier, but it's not super grounded like what we see in mainline games at the exact same time. Not only that, we do get some new attack patterns exclusive to the Sunbreak version of the Lucent Nargacuga, like the new special move that it has where it starts to turn invisible, starts weaving around until eventually it does a backflip tail slam. That attack is so accurate that I've died more times to it than I can count. I usually Superman dive away from it, but if I do have a chance to counter it, I would do so because this attack is so powerful, but it's also so satisfying to counter it at the exact same time, especially with something like the Switch Axe. Overall, the experience with fighting Lucent Nargacuga in Sunbreak is the best way for us to experience Frontier in whatever way, shape, or form that Capcom can incorporate them into a mainline game. Obviously, we have the likes of the Espinas as well, and more than likely, we are gonna get a variation of Espinas in the next title DLC updates moving forward, possibly the subspecies version of this monster. But once again, going back to the topic of the Lucent Nargacuga, I personally think that this rare species monster, recently introduced in the latest title DLC update for Sunbreak, is the perfect iteration of the Nargacuga species as a whole, at least as of right now, until Capcom further evolves the species in future Monster Hunter games. It's not too bogged down or grounded in order to make it realistic, and at the same time, it's not too extreme like what we see in Frontier fights. I think Capcom struck a perfect balance when creating this monster specifically for Sunbreak. The new attack moves as well as the ones incorporated from its exotic species are extremely well done here, and overall, the fight is extremely fun, engaging, and challenging, but most importantly, it gives me my fill of Frontier experience, especially from a mainline monster. Overall, Capcom did an amazing job with Lucent Nargacuga, and I can't wait to see what they do for us for future title DLC updates and what monsters they have in store for us. But for the time being, however, what do you think about the Lucent Nargacuga in Monster Hunter Rise Sunbreak? Let us know in the comments below your overall thoughts and opinions regarding this rare species monster as well as all other Nargacugas introduced throughout the entirety of the series. And as always, if you enjoyed these videos, please consider hitting the like on the video itself and subscribing to the channel as well as hitting that bell icon so you can go ahead and catch up on any other content that I might be doing in future. Until then, I hope you enjoyed this video. Thanks ever so much for watching, and I'll see you next time. Onward and upward.